My name is Dr. Michael Brown, and this is 3 Words, a bite-sized podcast about the simple and yet strategic choices that all of us can make in order to become fully alive. Today, I have the privilege of having here in the 3 Words podcast studio my friend, Danijela Tomic, who is the head coach of volleyball at Bowling Green State University. This is her 4th university. She's been here 10 years. She's been coaching for 24 years, but not just coaching volleyball, but coaching leaders, coaching women, empowering young people to become the very best version of themselves. It's an honor to have a conversation around these 3 words, this will pass. My friend shares with us today in this very compelling conversation that struggle is not going to be here forever, that happy, easy days are not going to be here forever, that we need to experience the ebb and flow of life, to be willing to take the hard as an opportunity to grow, to be able to see pain differently as an opportunity to evolve, and to be able to really grow into the very best version of ourselves as human beings, as people, as global citizens, because quite a story she has as she has lived around the world. Today we take a really hard, honest look at pain, at struggle, at difficulty and adversity, and how perspective means everything. Listen in. Well, Danijela, it is a privilege and an honor to have you here in the studio today, and I'm so thankful for our friendship and our relationship, and I'm excited to have a very honest and just informal conversation about these 3 words.
This will pass. Those are 3 words.
This will pass. Interesting. You know, we have been living in extraordinary times, very difficult times. And so I'm guessing in many ways, those 3 words resonate with you because of that very thing. Why do these 3 words mean so much to you?
You know, when I was thinking about which 3 words I was going to choose, and I was looking at the list, these 3 really resonated with me. I think because of just my background, the things that I went through in personal life, in my professional life, and seeing also what's happening right now in the world. I am originally from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm Croatian from Bosnia and Herzegovina. That confuses people a little bit when I tell them I'm Croatian from Bosnia. But I grew up in former Yugoslavia. I don't know, for people who know geography and history, it was a country of 6 republics and 2 provinces. And then in the 90s, we had a civil war where those republics separated, became independent. Slovenia was actually the first one that declared independence, and then Croatia, and then Bosnia. And when that started happening, the civil war broke out. And I was in Croatia at that time, playing volleyball and studying. My mom and youngest sister were in Bosnia at that time, and my dad and another sister were in a different part of Croatia, and my brother was in Slovenia. So we were all different parts for different reasons. And I went through that. You know, nobody in my family died, so we were lucky in that way. But seeing what the war can do to people and the countries, and seeing now what's happening in Ukraine, it's really kind of, bringing back a lot of memories. So when I was thinking about the 3 words that resonated with me, seeing this will pass, I know that it will. Because those struggles that I've seen my country and people going through that pass too. And so I would probably start with that, just my personal experiences and background. And
it's interesting, even now we're having this and taping this episode in the middle of all that's happening in Ukraine, which again, like you said, probably brings back memories. But you were sharing with me the other day that Sarajevo, obviously for 4 years, we're in the middle of this war.
Yeah.
That's a long time. I'm sure people in that context, in that situation, were thinking, is this ever going to pass?
Yes. Sarajevo is the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and it was the longest siege in the modern actually history. The longest one up to that point was Stalingrad, and then Sarajevo was for 4 years under the siege. There was embargo on weapons, and it was just seeing that and seeing genocide happening, and it was really, really hard. I don't know if that's strong enough word in the history of our country, but it did pass. And everything, again, our human experience, how I see it, it's that ebb and flow. Good things happen, bad things happen, and I think knowing when you're in those difficult situations, and war is an extreme example. I know that you don't have to go through the war, literally war, to know when you face adversity, when things are really, really hard. I think it's very important to remember these 3 words. It will pass.
It will pass.
It will pass, and we will be changed for sure. And I think we have a choice if you're going to be changed for better or for worse, depending on the choices, how we approach those difficulties and challenges in life. And if we have that, I think it's optimistic and hopeful attitude that as hard as it is, we will get out of it stronger.
I'm going to pause right now in the middle of my conversation with Coach Tomic to invite you to follow us on social media, as well as share this episode with a friend. Now back to our episode. I heard a friend once say to me that we have survived every one of the most difficult days of our life. And because there's days that feel really, you use the word hard, difficult, struggle, but struggle is normal. And it's something that should be embraced. And I know you and I both agree with that because we both are coaches. I'm a life coach. You are a volleyball coach. But we work with young people who, we all have hard things in our life. And I'm sure even as you work with young people, and you've been working with young people for many years now, is this a message you share with them? Is these conversations you're having with your team? Are these conversations that you're having with those that you coach, obviously your staff? What do those conversations look like as they tie into this will pass?
I do. And, I don't talk a lot about the war. And they know I'll share things with them. Last week, actually, I told them, we were just talking about, again, one of our current players, Petra Indrova, is from the Czech Republic, and her family took in their house also a couple of refugees, I believe young kids from Ukraine. So we were talking about that. And I told them, I said, my family, we were refugees. My sisters, my mom, my dad, we were refugees. So I know how it is. I think it's important for them to know just where my perspective comes from, right? The lenses that I'm looking through, the worldview that I have is different because of my past experiences. I think every person, you're building your values, your beliefs based, on your family, but also what you go through. And, but again, I'm going to go back. You don't have to go through these extreme experiences. In sports, we'll talk about, tough loss. And I always say, we will have double loss if you don't learn from this. You're going to learn. You're going to lose some, you're going to win some. There's no guarantee you're going to win. But did we learn from this? Can we be better because of this? Did we get stronger individually as a team because of this experience? If we did that, then there's no loss. We just got better. You have to go through these challenges. I don't see other way in life to get better, to get stronger. If everything was going great, and I think that's a little bit of an issue now that our young people expect I should be happy all the time. Things should be going, because we see this illusion on social media.
It should be easy.
It should be easy. Yeah, Instagram, right? Nobody's going to post, hard things like struggles. Think about it. If you had an alternative social media to actually show people, things, are hard, but we're going to get through this. So I do talk to our players. I think it's important. And I think playing sports, especially a team sport, it's such a great platform to learn these skills. Because you're doing it in a safe environment. Yeah, you're going to compete, you're facing the opponent, but at the end, everybody's safe. You're in a safe environment. It's just competition, but you're learning these life skills and what you do right there on the court. And I think you have to have, that's why coaches are, I think, important to put in perspective some of these things and maybe point, saying, hey, this is why.
And that's why
That's
we're having this conversation today, and that's why I selected and invited you to be on this podcast with us, because you are a person of great perspective as a global citizen, and you're very gracious, because obviously we were talking the other day and all that you've seen and been through and the challenges around the world, and yet you were quick to say in our conversation that we don't want to diminish, though, someone else's heart or someone else's struggle, because even though it might not be war, I mean, because there could be a tendency for some people to be like, I just went through a war, and now you're complaining that, your Starbucks drink isn't quite what you wanted it to be, right?
Yep.
It's hard to kind of, but you're very gracious and patient in helping us and our players and the people that you interact with kind of understand that everyone's going through struggle. Everyone's going through difficult times in some way, shape, or form. You and I also share a common appreciation for Stoic philosophy. Talk to me about how that kind of stoicism and that connection in this idea of this will pass, how they connect for you.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to Ryan Holiday. He's the writer I absolutely love. I'm subscribed to his newsletter. It's such, it's philosophy. It's, in philosophy, it's just the wisdom, right? Mm-hmm. And just learning from those who came before us. Mm-hmm. I'm a big reader. I'm an avid reader. So I would rather learn maybe some lessons from the books and podcasts than going through those in my life. And Stoicism it's about, I guess the main, his first, I believe, Stoic book is The Obstacle is the Way.
Okay.
And Marcus Aurelius, the quote, one of my favorite. The impediment to action advances the action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
What stands in the way becomes the way. Yeah.
Right? So you have to, again, having that will to persevere. Mm-hmm. But knowing that only through adversity and obstacles. And Stoicism is about learning how to respond, right? We can't control events. We can't control what happens to us in life. Mm-hmm. What we can choose is how we respond to that.
Yep.
And I think Stoicism, is just that space between event and the outcome, that reaction. It's really helped me in my professional career, in my personal life, just getting that perspective and learning from the wisdom, Marcus Aurelius and all of these Stoics. And I absolutely love Ryan Holiday's books. So
yeah. Well, and you've talked about, obviously, the space between the event and the outcome. And I would say, in many ways, that is perspective. Whenever we lose perspective, and whenever we presume that life is easy and that I shouldn't experience struggle, or that even the perspective, like this place where I am in today is going to last forever, we lose perspective. And I think perspective is kind of that essential ingredient to being able to say, not just in a trite way, but in a very genuine, heartfelt way, this will pass. Because it does. But it requires perseverance. It requires perspective, but it also requires the ability to hang in there and continue to say, I'm going to be tenacious, and I'm going to keep pushing and fighting and continue to choose. Like you said, choose my perspective as well as my choices.
Yes. And I'm going to take this to the other extreme.
Please.
This will pass is also when things are really good. When things are going great, the ebb and flow again of life experience. And I think knowing this will pass to make us even more present and to appreciate that time. Being here and now, right? And knowing this will pass too. It won't last forever, not in a negative way, but let's really, really be here for these moments when it's just great and we're full of joy and things are, just going smoothly for us.
Oh, what a great perspective. Yeah. Well, and I felt that way even at our university when the mask mandate was lifted. I felt like, I hadn't seen people's faces in so long, and it was important that we did that. We were protecting each other, we were helping each other, we were being selfless. But when the mask came off, it almost felt like this new day. Like, wow, I want to appreciate. I didn't appreciate that I was actually, previous to the pandemic, seeing people's full faces every day and being able to walk freely, get close in proximity, enjoy the company of people without wondering and worrying. And boy, what a great perspective that if I'm in a situation right now that is just really good, whether I'm super healthy, well, for you, we're winning game after game after game, it may not last forever.
Yep. And I learned that. And in my professional life, I actually learned to appreciate wins and my really good teams. And we have an outstanding BGSU volleyball team because of 2 really, really tough seasons where we won only 3 matches in our conference 2 years in a row. And those were things where if I didn't go through that, now it was really, really difficult.
Sure.
But I'm a better coach because of that. If I didn't go through those experiences and didn't look in the mirror, I think, again, the choice was me choosing. Either I feel a victim, why is this happening to me? Or looking in the mirror and saying, what do I need to change? What is the part that I'm playing in this that our team is not more successful? So there was a lot of soul searching, right? But if I didn't go through that, that's actually when I started reading Stoics. I was like, I need some help. I need to get through this. And it was just understanding that it's just a natural cycle of life that you will go through those. But I chose not to feel sorry for myself, not to, feel like I'm a victim. This is happening to me. I had a choice. What do I do? I'm going to get better because of this. I'm going to be a better coach for my players, and so on. And then now you're really good. Championship volleyball program.
You are. And it's interesting, your championship, not just in wins in actual games and matches, but you are championship lives. I mean, you have been recognized all over the country and literally all over the world as a fantastic, phenomenal leader, culture builder, thought leader, because and you said, it made me a better coach. No, you chose to be a better coach because through adversity and crisis and challenge and struggle, we have a choice to become better or bitter. Yes. You chose better. Because you could have chosen, Danijela, during that time. And I was unfamiliar that those 2 years, I'd forgotten that was part of your story, that those 2 years because you win most of the games and the matches that I watch. And so to win only 3 in the course of that season, but you could have become a bitter coach. And you could have become bitter and angry and frustrated and tried to blame. But you, like you said, you evolved through that time.
I did. And our team evolved through that. And, it's interesting now our team forgets. They don't know, the sense of history. They don't know the struggles. All of these players who are on the team right now, they've been a part of winning teams. But it was, you're absolutely right. I just said... The decision was one day, literally, after many, many days of thinking, we're going to just focus on what's in our control. My staff and I said, I'm going to be the best coach that I can be for my team. I can't control if you're going to win or lose, but what we're going to do is just focus on being the best coaches for our team and make them better and invest us in them. And when nobody counted us. I forgot now where we were picked, but we won the championship in 2017 after graduating a really good class of seniors the year before, because we just said we're going to just focus on things that are in our control. And again, talking about choice and then knowing that, again, that period, that passed and we can be hopeful. Things will get better. This will pass. And now I'm enjoying more this time that we are successful. I don't take it for granted because I know that it will, again, we won't win everything. And I don't define success based on my wins and losses. I also learned that in my profession. I hope I'm not going to be remembered by my wins and losses, but the impact that we are leaving again on our young women and maybe planting some of these seeds for them also to live a meaningful life and remembering, that whatever they face in life, they're strong enough. They can do hard things because they've been through it and they learn that this will pass.
Well, and you must have been reminded of that even through those 2 years when things were so hard. It must have been in front of your mind, like, this isn't going to last forever. We're going to come on the other side of this. And you had to continue to remind yourself of that truth. But I really appreciate how you framed this entire conversation, Danijela, in this notion that life is ebb and flow, that this conversation is not just, the bad stuff's going to pass, but the times that are really bright and prosperous and victorious, they're going to pass too. That we can expect that life, though it's beautiful and it's amazing, and it's sacred. It is a mixed bag of really happy moments and really sad moments, really amazing, positive moments, and very tragic moments. And sometimes even within the same week.
Yeah, but I think that's how it should be. I just don't think you can, what is the purpose of our existence here? Like, how are you going to learn? How are you going to grow? How are you going to develop if everything is just always great? I'm going to speak from my personal experience. The biggest growth I've experienced is during those challenging times. That's when you're forced, when you experience pain and you're forced to reflect and look in the mirror where you grow. For us, again, to whatever you want to, self-actualization, transcendence, however you want to call it, you have to have hard times.
And we all know that theoretically. We all know that intellectually. But because even for me, and I shared this even with the team that I spoke with today, that when everything is going really well for me, in those moments, I am at best mediocre. But it's when things are challenging and hard and difficult where I have to kind of rise to the challenge, I actually evolve and grow into a better version of myself. But we know that, but none of us are going to wake up tomorrow morning going, I hope today is a really tough day. I hope today is where maybe I'll get to experience a crisis. I mean, have you wired your brain to actually expect that and actually get excited about that? Knowing with your worldview?
I don't know if I train my brain. I just...
Well, your perspective, I guess.
Yeah, my perspective. I guess understanding again how it's a cyclical, right? And again, looking back now, I can say I'm gonna feel sorry for myself. I'm not gonna enjoy tough times. It's not like right. Yes, now I'm gonna grow. This is gonna be great. It sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks. But you have to again have that it will pass. Get through it. Just breathe. Take a breath.
Yeah,
and there's never a situation that everything is bad. I mean, the fact that we woke up this morning, we have this conversation.
Of course.
It doesn't matter how bad the rest of the day. I think we can always find something that we can say, I'm grateful for this. Everything, there's a lot of bad stuff here. But the fact that I'm here.
Yep. I'm breathing. I see you.
I hear. We can find that, and I just think again, it just gives you hope. We can do this. It's not comfortable, and I do think we have to kind of almost fight our human nature because we want safety. We want things.
We want comfort. We want ease.
Exactly, and but that's unrealistic. I just don't think that happens.
What a fascinating conversation, Danijela. I mean, obviously, you ended our conversation, you're wrapping up our conversation with where it needed to, and that is, even in the difficult times, you use the word, and it's a powerful word, is gratitude. We need to, in the moments when things are hard and when struggle is there and pain is present, that we choose to be grateful. Even in the midst of that pain, because, and again, we might need to really pause and think about what I'm grateful for, particularly when things are particularly excruciatingly hard. But there's always something to be grateful for. It goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, perspective. To be able to actually say these three words, this will pass, with genuine feelings of positivity or even awareness, whether they're good things or bad things, or hard times or great times. It's all about perspective. I mean, always about perspective. And so I love being your friend. I love having you on this podcast. I love that we could have these conversations, obviously, not just here in the public eye, but the conversations that we have on a regular basis. Thanks for being here today, for being a guest on 3 Words.
Well, feelings are mutual, so thank you. This is an honor for me to be sitting here across with you and having this conversation. And
well, thank you,
I'm
Danijela.
grateful for you.
Appreciate it. For life coaching, consulting services, or to hire a keynote speaker, please visit dmbcoaching.com.